going into it, we knew what we needed to do better. And in the first period, we definitely did what we needed to do better, namely in forechecking. I mean, our second line especially. Simone had probably the best game she's played all season. She was reading plays so well. She was releasing at the right time. We made a wing flop too and moved Callie up one line and put Olivia on the second line with Abby and Simone. And she too was reading plays on the other wing from Simone. So our forechecking was so much stronger in that game than it had been in the past. And that's something we've tried to push a couple times this season, but haven't really been able to put together and see come to fruition.
about their team from the last time we played them. So when we did go into the period, we knew kind of what we were getting into, and we gave it our all and we skated really hard. But I think after that we just got really tired and kind of just lost.
Yeah, at the end of the first, in the Oyster River game, it was 0-0, and in the locker room, we were kind of just thinking, okay, so we're at 0-0 with Oyster River, we're keeping up with them, you know, we might have, if we keep working as hard as we are and keep pressuring them and don't let up, we could have a chance at winning the game. And I think, you know, we're thinking, okay, we're doing great right now, but we can't stop, we can't let up or anything, and I think that's kind of what we did in the second and third. I mean, there were definitely moments of greatness, and there are always moments of greatness, but I think we kind of shut down in the second.
I think that was a big deal because the first time we played them, I think last week, and this week, both times we came out scoreless at the end of the first period, which is a big deal for a team that's, I think, at the top right now. So it's a big deal for us to, you know, hold them off like that. But it would have changed everything if we got a goal, because when we score, it, like, I feel like it lights a fire under everyone, and it's like we can, you know, score on this good team. And I think sometimes we get in our heads a little bit and think, oh, they're number one, it's going to be so hard for us to score. But once we get that first one, I think everyone kind of switches on and is like, oh, we can do this. And I think that's what we kind of came off and talked about in the locker room after the first period. But then after the second, you know, our heads were a little hung low because they'd gotten a couple goals on us, and it's hard to dig yourselves out of a hole like that. And I definitely think we could have, but I think we just kind of I think we just let go of the fire we had in the first.
I think it changes our mentality for sure. I think they're a bit more excited to kind of keep grinding at that point. You know, I've always said over and over, it just takes one. You know, it takes one for us to kind of get that blood in the water, and then we, you know, circle it like sharks and try to finish off the job. But that said too, I also think that fires up Oyster River a little bit too, because they came in here 9-0 off a huge win against Exeter that I certainly didn't see coming. I mean, they're a good team, but to shut out Exeter that's a feat. So they were feeling really good, and I think in the first period they kind of played a little bit like maybe they thought they could just kind of roll us a little bit. So when we answered and didn't make it easy for them, that was a wake-up call. So I think if they had scored that first one in the first period, I think it deflates us. So a goal either way definitely changes the game.
First period, I think it was weird that it kind of was like an identical two games where we lost 6-0 and it was 0-0 in the first period both times. But that first period, I feel like we thought we were going to have a stronger game, and I think we for sure did in that first period. It doesn't reflect it on the sheets, but I think that as frustrating as it was also better. It was a lot better than that first game, because that Oyster River, the first Oyster River game, I think really it took us down a few pegs. That was a tough game for us. And the first period of the most recent Oyster River game, I think it was kind of important to see that after that, the first one, that we were still like capable of playing, and it was against the same team, so there's like a certain piece of it that you don't get by playing Bedford in between. So that first period we came out stronger than we did at all in the first game, and I think we were hoping for a better turnout, which sucks, but it looked better and it felt better, and it was easier to leave the rink than it was the first game, because I feel like we put more out on the ice than we did before.
You know, their depth, I think, got the best of us. And, you know, if you're going to forecheck as hard as we were in that first period, you've got to have the legs to sustain it, and we didn't. You know, we were taking shifts off at times and not doing the things that we needed to do every single shift out there. So I think it just wore us down. You know, they've got a lot more skaters than we do, and that took its toll. But in that first period, they knew what they needed to do, and they really came out and did it, and it'll be nice to build off of that. they scored that pretty early in the second period. And our D got spun around a bit, and L's foot, I think, got stuck behind the post. So yeah, the first two goals were really like, come on, man. So, but once you have two things not really bounce your way, it's hard to mentally kind of recover from that.
Sometimes, especially we were kind of thinking, we're doing good, we're staying with Oyster River and everything, and then they scored, and then they scored again, and then, they scored again. And I think sometimes, no matter how much you want to go out there and do everything you can, it kind of gets to some people's heads sometimes.
It definitely is frustrating, especially, when pucks do bounce the wrong way, or, it goes in and like, you're like, that stinks, I wish that one didn't go in, which it is frustrating, but you also have to kind of look at it as, yeah, they scored, but now we have to score, because, the game of hockey, if you don't score, you don't win. So, yeah, it's frustrating, but as a team, we have to come together and bring things up a notch, because, like you said, if they did score only 2 in the second instead of getting that third one, it does make a difference, but at the same time, like, if we don't score, it's not going to make a big difference. So we just have to, I think, get more on the board next couple games.
2-0, we're like, okay, we can still get 2 more, and there's still time on the clock, and we have this. But once the third one kind of got in, we were like, we're doing what we can right now, and it kind of was just like the moment where we were like, it's not working, and we had to either figure something else out, or it was just gonna fall apart.
right where I thought we'd be. I mean, in the beginning of the season, I thought we'd end up in that 5, 6, 7 spot. Right now, we're sitting in 7. Do I think we can be higher? Yeah, but we've got to grit out some of these wins here. I mean, that the last Oyster River was a great team. I don't think the score should have been what it was, but it was. So not much I can do about that. But yeah, I mean, we're right about where I thought we'd be in that 5, 6, 7 area.
I think we're in a good spot right now. I think we're kind of in the middle of the pack. We're not the best team, but we're definitely not near the bottom. But I think this year we've done very, very well, especially with some of the better teams like Berlin and everything, and we played great. So I think this past week, playing Oyster River twice, that was a little rough for us. We definitely wanted to play better the second game, which was kind of sad that we came out and didn't do as well as I think we would have wanted to. But we have to put those games behind us and just focus on the upcoming games.
I think we're better than I imagined. This team has really gotten together and formed something that has been better than I could have ever imagined. Like, we're doing really well on the ice, and like, even if we lose or get frustrated, we're able to get back together and work as a team to just figure out what we're doing wrong, how to fix it, and keep going. And I think that's one of the best things a team can do, because if one of those steps falls apart, the whole team falls apart.
It's definitely exciting knowing that there's so much potential in the team, especially with the amount of girls that we have that definitely do have a lot of potential and have a lot of athletic experience and who are amazing athletes and who are starting to really get it and starting to really pick up everything about hockey. So I think it's really exciting knowing that we still have so much more room for growth, and we, if we put our minds to it, we can do it.
Probably more important than it's ever really been before, because we need the momentum to keep going, to motivate our team, to motivate ourselves, and we need the win streak to go into February and start thinking about playoffs. And we need to get the points on the board. I think we need to look at how we've done, like you said, from the beginning to the end, and just see that it may be a little bit iffy there for a little while, but we can do it. And on paper, it's also obvious that we can do it.
We need to be, as a team, working a lot harder, knowing that we're approaching the end of this, the second half of the season, the end of the season, even playoffs. I think we need to be recognizing that and knowing that we don't have any more room, or we're starting to approach the line where we don't have any more room for losing games that we shouldn't be losing, and losing games that could be a toss-up between, we might win, but we might lose, it's a close matchup. We definitely need to be starting to win those games, so we'll see.
It's starting to get down to what place we're in for the playoffs, and this team, we're definitely a team that wants to win this year, or at least get further and make history for Souhegan, because we won one last year, and then we're hoping we might be able to get our second win, so it's gonna be exciting.
When you are kind of on a winning streak and on a roll, it's awesome, because I think for a little while we had some wins, and then now we are starting to go back and forth with a win, a loss. But it's definitely very important, especially to show who we are as a team in the division. We want to make it known that we're a good team. So being on a winning streak would be awesome for us at this time, especially to put us in a good place for the playoffs.
We have coming. We have to have 2 wins this week. We have to. We have to take care of Central, and we have to take care of BG on Saturday. And then we, have to have a tough travel to Exeter the game after that. But then we really should be able to finish out the season strongly. I think Berlin probably presents the biggest challenge as we move past Exeter and later on into the season. But St. Thomas can give us a hard time. Leb can give us a hard time. Brinity can give us a hard time. We have to be on our game, and we can't take anything for granted. If we want to stay in that 5, 6, 7 region, we have got to take care of business coming into the end.